ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tankers of all ages, Sir Harry here again with another user-friendly video, the series where I feature mid-tier tanks that are relatively easy for new and less experienced players to play and are on tech tree lines that go somewhere you want to go. And yep, there it is, the T67, the Tier 5 American Tank Destroyer. I've had requests for this one. No doubt this is a great little TD to play, and for less experienced players you can have some fantastic games in it, but it does have some drawbacks and you have to be aware of them and adjust your play style accordingly. So taking a quick look at the American tech tree to see where the T67 falls, you can see after the T56 GMC at Tier 3, the tech tree line actually splits into two separate lines of tank destroyers. The top one, the one that the T67 falls on, is pretty strong throughout the entire line. The M8A1 at Tier 4 is really great. It's a bit fragile, but it's quick, it's got a pretty good gun, and it's a lot of fun to play. The T67 we'll talk about obviously in a lot of detail, and of course at Tier 6, the Hellcat. That is one of the iconic tanks in this game. It's been hit with the Nerf bat many times over the years by Wargaming because it is so strong, and it's just such a fun TD, and it's still great despite being heavily nerfed. The T25-2 is a bit of a love-'em-hate-'em TD at Tier 7. You play it a bit more like a medium tank, you'll have success, but I know a lot of players don't like it. I enjoy mine personally. The T28 Prot, same thing, very slow. Pretty good frontal armor, and when you get the Top Gun, this thing is a monster at Tier 8, but it does not go anywhere fast. The T30, giant gun when you unlock the top one again, but it's a bit slow and a bit fragile. And of course the T110E4, pretty good all-round TD at Tier 10. The second line of American TD, starting with the T40 at Tier 4, except for the Wolverine and the Jackson at Tiers 5 and 6, these are all casemate tank destroyers. You have to turn the entire hull every time you want to move the gun, and that can deactivate your cam net, it deactivates your binos. So there are some drawbacks to this line, and some of these tanks are not very good. The T25AT may appear in an upcoming Unlovables video, but they're very well armored when you get up to the higher tiers, and the T110E3 is regarded generally as better than the T110E4. So what's so special about the T67? Well, first and foremost, we can't talk about this TD without talking about its speed. This thing is an absolute sports car of a tank destroyer. The top engine has 460 horsepower, and this is a tiny little TD, so it moves. It's got a 30.42 horsepower per ton specific power. Wow, that is one of the best in the game. Look at this, I'm keeping up, no problem with the Cromwell B. The Crom and the Crom B, of course, are super fast British Tier 6 medium tanks, and with this you can get going, you can get where you need to go right out of the spawn, get into those sneaky little ambush locations, find a bush, get your binos and your camouflage net activated before your targets are even within sight. 61 kilometers per hour forward and 20 in reverse, so you can play ridge lines, you can pop up and down really fast, get out of trouble, and you've also got 10 degrees of gun depression. So for ridgeline fighting, this thing is amazing. You can get up and get those shots and get out of trouble before the enemy has any hope of actually returning fire. If you can stay alive till the end of the battle, the T67 speed makes it absolutely amazing at cleaning up all those low health tanks at the end. Where it falls apart, though, is the traverse. The hull traverse of 32 degrees per second isn't bad, but the turret only traverses at 18, which means you have to take your hand off the W key if you want to get the gun around if you're circle strafing targets, and you actually probably want to pre-aim before you go around corners if you know an enemy is likely to be there. So with such great mobility, you must be thinking, okay, the gun on the T67 can't be that great. Well, the 76mm gun, the Top Gun, has a 3.07 second reload. That's about 19.5 rounds per minute, and you can get that down to 2.8 second reload or 21.7 rounds per minute with a rammer. So this thing puts rounds downrange incredibly quickly, and the damage stacks up really fast. It's only got a 1.63 second aim time, and so you're aiming while you're reloading. Your aim time is faster than your reload, so your shot should be pretty accurate. 0.39 accuracy is not amazing, but it's okay, and you can make it work. The high rate of fire is a bit of a mixed blessing, though, because this tank destroyer only carries 45 rounds of ammunition. So you have to be very careful you don't burn through your ammo early in the battle, and it can be done. You can run out of ammunition in this thing, so pick your ammo mix carefully. I always carry a little bit of HE and about a 2-to-1 ratio of AP to APCR. So the mobility is amazing, the gun is amazing, there's got to be a drawback, and yeah, there is. It's armor. This thing doesn't have any armor. 12 millimeters on the hull all round, front, side, and rear. And on the turret, it's got 25 on the front, and there's a teeny tiny bit of spaced armor on the edge of the gun mantlet, but 25 on the front, 12 on the side and rear of the turret. And with only 360 hit points in a Tier 5 tank that can see up to Tier 7 battles, you have to be extremely careful with this tank destroyer. You can get one shot by a lot of tanks. You can get one shot by tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, and tier 7 tanks if they're carrying the wrong gun, I guess, from your perspective, and high explosive ammunition. I have had great times in my Hetzer, absolutely stomping seal clubbers driving this thing, because this is a preferred tank for seal clubbers and stat patters. You get platoons of these things roaming around tier 5 battles, absolutely cleaning up. And there's nothing that feels better than putting those guys in their place in your Hetzer with one shot from your high explosive 10.5 centimeter derp gun and absolutely vaporizing them. Doing a quick tank compare in tanks.gg between the T67 and its most popular tier 5 tank destroyer rivals, and yeah, I've got the M4 Sherman in there, only to make the point that the T67 can be played as a medium tank as long as you allow for the fact that it has no armor and it has that extremely slow turret traverse, so circle strafing targets, exploiting into gaps can be risky in the T67, but it can play as a medium tank. And you know what, with that speed, you can play it as a light tank too, and we'll see that in a replay in a little bit. But look at that DPM, 2248, tied with the Wolverine. The Wolverine really kind of the other side of the American TD coin. It does have a bit of armor, but holy cow, you're giving up a lot of speed. But the gun performance is pretty much the same on both tanks. The main casemate TDs at tier 5, the Su-85 and the Stug 3G, have significantly better penetration and damage, but I guess that kind of makes up for the fact they don't have turrets, and you have to turn the hull, deactivate your camnet, deactivate your binos every time you want to move the gun. Speaking of the gun, T67 tied for best-in-class aim time at 1.63 seconds with the Stug 3G, also tied with the Stug when it comes to dispersion on the move and when traversing the hull and turret. The accuracy, okay, it's not the best, 0.39 versus 0.32, 0.33, and 0.36, but you know what, you can still make it work. It's not that bad. And as if having a better gun wasn't enough, the T67 literally leaves its competition in the dust. 61 kilometers an hour forwards, better by far than anyone else, and even the reverse speed at 20 is much better. And that power to rate ratio of over 31 is almost twice as good as its main competitors. The terrain resistances are even better, so it is going to get everywhere significantly faster than any other TD at tier 5. And finally, the Achilles heel of the T67, of course, is the armor. Yeah, what armor? All of its main competitors have at least 3 times as much armor. You know, it's not a lot. The Stug 3's got 80 on the front, which is pretty good. But, you know, even having that much on the M10, the Su-85, and the Stug mean they have a fighting chance. They can bounce lower tier stuff. They'll bounce some same tier stuff. And they have a chance, at least, at tier 6 of bouncing the odd shot. So the T67, if it hits, it's penning, it's doing damage. So the fact that it has 360 health, which is joint best with the Wolverine, doesn't mean a lot because everything is going to penetrate and do damage. So when you first unlock the T67 and you buy it, it's sitting there in the garage. How are you going to upgrade the modules? Well, first and foremost, you absolutely want to put the top engine on this thing. The difference is significant and it gives you that mobility you need. You can make that 57mm gun work fine. You can unlock that engine and mount it along with a gun rammer, binos, and a camnet without unlocking the top track. So I'd recommend that order first. Get the engine and put all that equipment on it. Then you can unlock the tracks, go for the better turret and the 3-inch gun, which isn't terrible. And if you plan to keep it, absolutely, you're going to want to unlock that 76mm gun. So enough facts and figures, let's get out in the battle space. We're in a tier 5 battle on Mountain Pass. Looking at the enemy team list, there are some tanks I definitely need to be worried about. They've got the OI Experimental, which has a monstrous derp gun. The M4 and the Stug 3G, of course, can also mount 105mm howitzers and make me go away in one shot. And even their light tanks, the Crusader, the Panzer 1C, have really fast-firing little guns. They're very fast, very maneuverable, and they could circle strafe me if I get isolated. What? I said KV-1s can one-shot you. I just guess I didn't expect my own KV-1 to one-shot me. Yeah, low-tier, mid-tier battles can be really fun sometimes, can't they? Yeah, that player, it turns out, I'm not going to put his name up. I really want to put his name up. But you know what? He's got like under 1,000 battles. He's, you know, maybe not in the right headspace to try to help his team succeed. He's just out to blow stuff up and have fun. Our Su-85 goes for the revenge shot. I do not recommend that. In fact, I tell the Su-85 not to shoot him because in this case, the KV-1 has not turned blue. He's not done this enough, I guess, to have Wargaming's automatic system kick in and turn him blue. So the Su-85, all he's going to do is risk getting his own account frozen. And you definitely don't want that to happen. So if you do get shot by a friendly, don't retaliate unless they turn blue. There, the Su-85 puts another shot at him. Not worth it. Let the guy kill you if it comes down to it. In fact, I've seen videos where guys actually deliberately put themselves in the way of team killers to try to get the guy's account deactivated. Let's look at that again. Oh, yeah. So, I guess we'll reset. Let's go to another battle and put this one behind us. So enough facts and figures, let's get out on the battlefield. We're in a Tier 5 battle in Muravanka, and we talked about some tanks that can one-shot me, and look at that, the enemy team's got 2 KV-1s, a Sherman, and they've got the Stug 3G. If any of those have the derp gun and get a shot into me with high explosive, my battle's going to be over really, really fast. The Matilda Black Prince and the KV-1s all have really good armor. I'm probably going to have to spam some APCR. And even their light tanks, their Panzer 1C and Crusader, if they get in close to me, they could circle around me, and with those quick-firing guns, take me out of the battle really, really fast. Now you see our T14's actually heading up the middle here. Not necessarily a strong play for a Tier 5 heavy tank in a Tier 5 battle. He is going to light some targets though, so I guess that's a good thing. Really, you'd want to get a light tank up to that east-west road there around E5, E6. There's some good bushes. You can spot the enemy deployment early, stay hidden, and then get out of trouble, hopefully, if you're fast enough. So lights are starting to come in now here. You can see there's a KV-1. There's the ST version 39 coming down the middle. The enemy team's doing sort of the same thing our T14 is, and just YOLOing up the middle. You definitely want to avoid the center of this map early in the battle anyway. I get some shots into the 39. Oh, there's the KV. We try to get a shot at him, but I don't manage to get enough lead, and I do miss him. So I'm putting a combination of blind shots and aim shots in here at targets. You can see the BP there. I bounce. I switch over to APCR, but he disappears behind some houses there. I'm not able to get consistent shots at him. That's one thing with the center of the map, of course, too. You have to watch out because there's so many buildings. No matter where you are, you're not going to have unimpeded fire across the map. So the KV-1 now straight out in the middle, wide out in the open. I switch to try to get some shots into his rear drive wheel there. I do manage to track him, I think, and I start to put the penetrating shots in. I am using APCR again because, hey, he's a KV-1. He's got good armor. But I'm keeping him in place. My team and I can absolutely tear him apart and just whittle him down shot by shot. The alpha on this isn't terrible, again, as we talked about. I get the blind shot in for the final kill there. The ST version 39's in the open now. I don't notice, I forget I'm firing APCR, so I actually do waste 3 APCR rounds on a tank that really does not require them. So we pause, take a look for targets while our team starts to advance. You can see our T50 there, he's blue. I'm tempted to put a shot into him because of course I won't be penalized because he's blue, he's done team damage, but you know what, I got better things to do. And again, the ammo count on this tank, the ammo load is not particularly robust, and I don't want to risk wasting shots that I might need later. So the enemy Martyr 2 and the other KV-1 are spotted further up. My team's advancing, so it's time to move. If I want to keep contributing to this battle, I have to stay in the battle. So there's a KV-1 now. I've got shots, and you can see I've got a tree between me and him. That tree is far enough away that I'm not going to be spotted, at least by the KV-1. There are a couple of enemy tanks to my east there, but you know what? I've got the cam net up now, and I just start putting shots again into the other enemy KV-1. I'm using my APCR against the most heavily armored target on the enemy team, and arguably one of the most dangerous targets on the enemy team. He backs up. I put one last blind shot in there and continue to move. Stug 3G. Side shot, absolute perfect broadside shot, and that .39 accuracy does let me down there. My shot dives low towards the bottom of the aiming reticle, and I miss a chance for the kill shot. Our T50, okay, he's blue, he's done some bad stuff maybe in a previous battle, but you know what, he's being really valuable here. He's keeping that Stug 3G's attention, he's taking hits, and I get up there, and I look at that, great shot. I wait, and I aim this time, and take out the Stug 3G, another very dangerous top-tier enemy tank. I'm going to move around to the flank of this KV-1 now, try to get some shots into him, but our KV-1 takes him out first, so okay, that's fine. Oh, and I bounce a shot, probably a low-caliber gun, one of the light tanks. I get behind cover here, and oh, there we go. There's the Panzer 1C. I'm going to use this building to keep it between me and him, because again, he can tear me apart with that little fast-firing autoloader. And again, our KV-1 takes him out as well, so that's great. Enemy Crusader now. I'm going to use the building here. The enemy artillery was also spotted to the north, so I'm going to use the building to shield myself from the arty while I pop in and out using that really good forward and backward speed. And there's the Ki-He now. I don't know what all these light tanks are doing camping in the back. Never, never, never do that. Unless you're maybe bottom tier and you just literally have nothing to do in the battle. But there's 3 tanks that were not out spotting, not out shooting, not out drawing enemy attention. They were just sitting in the back camping. They did absolutely nothing. You saw there I was in third person mode when I went to engage the enemy artillery. I missed the shot. One of my teammates took him out. That was a very important missed shot, because as you'll see, I could have got a top gun out of this battle. Well, I kind of spoiled the ending now. I don't quite make it, and if I'd been able to take out that artillery, well, yeah, I could have got the top gun. So we'll skip ahead a little bit now. I want to try to track down that Panzer 38 NA. Odds are he's heading down south. Yep, there he is. Of course, he knows he's not going to win, so he's going to try to farm a little more experience by taking out our artillery at the end of the battle. We do have our ST version 39 there on the cap. And you know what? A lot of people will rage about people capping at the end, and they say no cap, kill all, and all that. You know what? If you're capping, cap. If you want to be a good sport, then yeah, sure, you might consider stepping off if somebody's going to get a Top Gun or a Radley Walters or a Pools medal or something like that. But some players rage when guys cap out, and you know what? It's part of the game. It's a legitimate way to win, so why not? And you can see our T34 is actually asking off cap, and that's his prerogative. But I'd never begrudge the other players if they decided to. And there we get some shots into 38 NA. And look at that. Our KV1 actually pulled off the cap. Wow, what a great sport. A player named Tommy Gunn, 448. Absolutely would not have begrudged him getting a few extra cap points at the end, but wow, what a great sport. And you see the 38 NA now, he was trying to cap, just again to get maybe a few experience, a few cap points. I do get some shots into him. I tried high explosive, didn't work, so I went to AP, took him out with a few shots. So there's the battle results. Ace Tanker, no Top Gun. That third-person shot at the artillery cost me the 6th kill in the Top Gun. I did get high caliber, that was great. 1,076 base experience, 1,986 damage, and there we go, there's Tommy Gun again. What a great battle he had, and what a great sport he was for stepping off the cap at the end there to let us get some more damage. 29 of our 43 shots hit, 21 penned. We did lose 9,000 credits, of course, because of all the APCR we had to shoot at the KV-1s and the Matilda Black Prince. So for our second battle, we're on Fiery Salient, I guess the kind of weathered and distressed version of Prokhorovka. We're top tier again, it's tier 5, that's great. And I looked at the team list before the battle, and XVM showed me that a lot of players on both teams did not have a lot of experience. A lot of them with like 1,000 battles, 2,000 battles, even amongst the light tanks. And that tells me that a lot of them may not know about the spotting bush. They may not have very, very strong crews. They may not have good view range. They might not have binos. We talked about the T67 being able to be played as a medium tank or even a light tank, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to go down, try to get some spots. I want to steer clear of some pretty big scary tanks on the enemy team. The OI Experimental, the Hetzer, the S35CA could all dirt me with one shot if they have the right gun, and they've got some very heavily armored tanks as well. The AT2, the Excelsior, and the Matilda all have lots of really good armor, so I'll have to watch out for them. And they've got some fast firing tanks. The T67, the AT2, and the Matilda could all pick me apart really quick if I do get spotted here, so I'm going to have to maintain some really strong fire discipline. There are a lot of tanks down the one line behind me, so whatever I do spot should get taken out pretty quickly. There's the enemy Covenanter. I wait until he's behind the bushes and starts driving away from me, so now he's more than 15 meters behind those bushes. He will not be able to spot me as I put 2 shots into him to take him out. So we resume spotting again, and there's a Panzer III-4. Again, I wait till he's behind a bush, take the shot. I do get a hit in, and then he ducks down behind that ridge line there, and he didn't spot me. The Excelsior spotted now. He's a heavy tank. He's at the extreme far end of my spotting circle. It's unlikely at this tier that he's going to have the crew or the equipment to be able to spot me. So my team and I start putting shots into him. You can see I've gone to APCR at this range. He's a fairly well-armored tank, and it's going to take APCR to reliably penetrate him. We get a couple of penetrations in, and then we finish him off. See the Panzer III-4 pops up again, but I do not have a shot on him. He's still behind that ridge line. The enemy Matilda was spotted down there somewhere too, so I got to watch out for that tank because it has that super fast firing gun. S35CA, wow, that's one of the TDs I'm really worried about. He can dirt me with one shot. He's just behind that ridge and behind a haystack, and if you guys know, please let me know. I don't know for sure. Do haystacks actually obscure vision, or are they just decoration? I don't know, but he disappears. I put a lot of shots at him and finally managed to take him out with 4 blind shots. He obviously should have relocated, but he did manage to take our KV-1 out, so that's one really big bad tank on our team now that we're down, and that's a bit of a disadvantage for us. The OI Experimental, that's a great heavy tank position. I highly recommended top tier heavy tanks go there. You have to rule that middle ground, plus you can get shots up on the hill potentially, and yeah, I put some shots at him. They're blind. I don't know if I pen or not. AT2 pops up. This is a veritable shooting gallery. Enemy targets appearing everywhere. Again, I go to APCR. He angles. I don't get a pen. I managed to bounce, but there you go. We do get some penetrating shots eventually. My team is absolutely pouring the fire in on this AT2. I keep spamming the APCR in the hopes of getting him. He gets tracked, it looks like. I bounce again. Wow, that thing is an absolute monster. We do get the kill at the end there with the APCR. The enemy T67 appears, and he disappears into the bushes. There's the enemy Matilda again. I'm firing AP now, not APCR, because I do have his side. I should be able to pen him. I take him out with a second shot. The enemy T67's coming up now. I don't know how he's not spotting me at this point, or maybe he is, but he's got other things on his mind right now. I get a lucky shot in there. I think I track him, and I just keep pouring the fire down. I don't manage to get the kill, but that's okay. Oh, yeah, I was spotted. The enemy OI Experimental shot at me, and you know what? He tracked me. He hit my tracks. That could have killed me with a single shot. Get the tracks repaired and get on the move. We're going to go down into the low ground now because I don't want to stay up there anymore and get filled full of holes. I'm on about 2/3 of my hit points, but again, with some big tanks there, I could get taken out pretty quick. So So we'll head off into the middle now. Our Martyr 2 is sitting right out in the open. I'm not sure how he's still alive. He's got no armor, not a lot of hit points, and he's duking it out with that SD version 39. I decided to wade in and help him out. I get 2 shots on the move with auto aim. I'm firing high explosive now because I am out of AP, and I'm almost out of APCR, so I have to be really careful with my ammo usage. We take him out. I did have to stop there. We talked about the turret traverse, and I couldn't just keep W pushed and keep moving because I wasn't able to keep the gun on him turning in big wide circles like that. The VK3001H is there, and yeah, speaking of stopping in the open, I said, how is our Martyr 2 still alive? Well, how am I still alive? Because you know what? I got nuked there by the Hetzer. Yep, one of those tanks I had to really watch out for. This battle, though, I think was a really, really good example of flexibility and the versatility of the T67. We started playing it like a light tank and went up to the bushes and spotted. We used bushes and we managed our visibility and played TD by taking shots at a lot of enemy tanks that couldn't see us. And finally, at the end, we played like a medium and we went up to exploit a gap. I made the mistake of stopping and I did get killed, but you know what? It shows that you can play this thing like a medium, like a light, and like a TD. So on to the battle results. Ace Tanker. We got the Bruiser, did a lot of module damage. Fire for Effect did way more damage than our hit points. Of course, this thing does not have a lot of hit points, so it's easy to get. We got High Caliber, which is fantastic. And the Top Gun, finally, that eluded us in the last battle, we managed to get here. 1,276 base XP. I think it's one of the better games I've had in the T67, and we did 2,384 damage. That's a lot of damage when you're doing about 100, 110 per shot. It adds up pretty quick with this rate of fire, but yeah, playing that TD from the bush location, managing the visibility, you can absolutely rip it up as far as doing damage in this thing. Even though we didn't survive till the end of the battle, we did have a chance to fire 39 shots, and with a limited ammo capacity on the T67, you can see we were in very real danger of running out of ammunition had we survived till the end of the battle. Of the 39 shots, 32 hit, 26 penetrated. We did have to fire a lot of APCR at that AT2 in the Excelsior, so we lost 1,000 credits, but not too bad overall, and over half of that damage was from more than 300 meters away, so even with .39 accuracy, you can make it work as a sniper. The T67 is, in my opinion, the most user-friendly tank destroyer in the game at Tier 5. The combination of speed and mobility, the rate of fire on the gun, and the fact that it has a turret and you don't have to deactivate your camo net and binos if you want to change the direction the gun's pointing, make it really, really good for new and less experienced players. As I mentioned, it's also really good for seal clubbers and stat padders. Not that I condone that sort of thing. You know what? This thing is absolutely amazing. If you remember the fact that you have absolutely no armor and it is hard to circle strafe and take on that medium role due to the slow turret traverse, you can have some fantastic games. Is there a tank that you'd like to see a user-friendly video of? Let me know in the comments. Consider clicking like, and if you like what you're seeing, hey, click subscribe. This is Sir Harry. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers.